Part 51. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 501. After one blow, Mr. Ma and I distanced ourselves from Mr. Huang San. The lightning disappeared, and I was stunned for a moment, because Mr. Huang San stood there intact. The fourth level of thunder technique was unable to cause any harm to Mr. Huang San. Mr. Wang's expression was extremely gloomy. He looked at the two of us. The demonic energy around him was strong, and he broke free from the shackles of the sea of blood. The strong demonic wind blew the surrounding trees to roar, and there was a vague tendency to rise from the ground. Mr. Wang's eyes became colder and colder. He raised his feet and walked towards us slowly. With every step he takes, the demonic aura around him becomes stronger. Very well, you two succeeded in irritating me. So, you must die. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt a powerful demonic energy coming towards me. I saw a huge furry tail hitting Mr. Ma and me head on. I calmed down, grabbed Mr. Ma's hand again, and then used Nine Eyes' heavenly domain to escape from the place. Boom! There was a loud noise in the air. I looked at where Mr. Ma and I were standing before, and what I saw was a huge pit. I couldn't help but feel a little scared. If I were hit, wouldn't all the bones in my body be broken? Not allowing us to think too much, Mr. Huang San turned around slowly. It has a rat head and a rat body, but it stands and walks. The scene before me reminds me of a strange story I saw on the internet before. A black goat walks upright and lures chickens into a house to eat them. Isn't the Mr. Huang in front of me exactly the same as the black goat in that video? I slowly closed my eyes and summoned a heavenly secret. This heavenly secret is painted with obscure golden spells. It's the golden light killing. When Mr. Huang saw the heavenly secrets wrapped around me in my hands, he was stunned on the spot. Golden light killing. What is your relationship with Yunxiaozi? Yunxiaozi. Is this the Taoist priest's name? I didn't answer Mr. Huang San's question and directly activated Tianmi Lu. A dazzling golden light burst out from the heavenly secret barrier, and a huge magic circle instantly enveloped Mr. Huang San. The magic circle is illusory, but the golden light is dazzling. There is a yin-yang bagua pattern in the sky, and one also appears on the ground, echoing it. Golden talismans are suspended in the magic circle. These talismans are erratic, carrying sacred light and chilling aura. I raised my hand and then dropped it sharply. The golden talisman changed instantly, turning into countless golden ropes and bounding towards Mr. Huang San. These golden ropes are somewhat similar to Master Ghost's soul threads in a sense. But it is fundamentally different. I can change the attack mode of these golden spells through the magic circle. The rope tied Mr. Huang San tightly, just like a rope falling from the sky. The golden rope began to shrink, sinking deeply into Mr. Wang's flesh and blood. The magic circle moved again, and the floating spell turned into countless wind blades tearing apart the body of Mr. Huang San. Manipulating the magic circle consumes a lot of money, but I can't control that much now. If this ray of soul of Master Huang San is not eliminated, I am afraid that I will be the one who dies. The golden light killing slash is extremely powerful. Countless golden ropes are like sharp blades, cutting through the skin and cutting flesh. Mr. Huang San was miserable. At this moment, there was a sudden rustling sound all around. I looked around and saw groups of black shadows coming towards us. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 502. Through the pale moonlight, I could clearly see what the black shadows were. It turned out to be one weasel after another. These weasels come in different sizes, with anthropomorphic expressions on their furry faces, and their sneaky little eyes keep turning. I originally thought these weasels would attack me, but what I didn't expect was. These weasels actually stopped outside the magic circle. They were restless for a while, then lined up neatly, stood up straight, and then put their two little paws on their chests with an extremely pious expression. They raised their heads and bowed 3 times to the bright moon in the sky. This situation left me in a daze. They really look like little people one after another, praying devoutly to the moon. When Mr. Ma saw this scene, he was slightly startled, and then his expression changed drastically. Weasel worships the moon. When I heard these 5 words, I was slightly stunned. My grandfather once told me that weasels worship the moon. They have only one purpose in doing so, and that is to collect the purest feminine spiritual energy during the full moon for cultivation. But their behavior makes me confused. Their ancestors are suffering, but they actually want to worship the moon and practice. Is it possible that we want to collectively transform into humans? And then attack us? Mr. Ma rushed into the group of weasels in a blink of an eye. He used his methods to stop the weasels from worshipping the moon. But there are simply too many weasels. Mr. Ma simply can't handle it alone. At this moment, the bright moon in the sky suddenly became brighter. Beam after beam of moonlight fell from the sky, shining on the bodies of these weasels. Then the weasels slowly opened their mouths, and one after another cold light was transmitted into the body of Mr. Huang San. Seeing this scene, I finally understood why Mr. Ma was so nervous. These weasels worship the moon not for themselves, but for Mr. Huang San. They are using the moonlight to transmit demonic power to Mr. Huang San. Boom! The huge golden magic circle began to tremble, and Mr. Huang San in the middle of the magic circle was still breaking free from the shackles of the golden rope. I looked at Mr. Huang San with horrified eyes. In less than 30 seconds, the demonic energy emanating from his body became many times more powerful. I silently recited the golden light mantra in my heart, and dazzling golden light spread out from all over me. I want to use the golden light spell to strengthen my control over the magic circle. After the magic circle was strengthened, it instantly became stable. But those weasels are still worshipping the moon, so I won't be able to survive for long. Moreover, I have no way to help Mr. Ma now. Mr. Huang San shouted loudly, and the demonic aura around him became stronger. Countless golden ropes began to break, and the magic circle began to become illusory and uncertain. Mr. Huang San's body began to change. He was lying on all fours and his body was getting bigger. The originally sparse hair has become thicker. After a while, a huge weasel came into my sight. This is the true identity of Mr. Huang San. The huge weasel had lush hair and a color as bright and dazzling as gold. When the night wind came, the hair was as smooth as ripples on the sea. Apart from the powerful demonic aura, this weasel gives people a feeling of calmness and self-power. The feeling of oppression filled me instantly. Mr. Huang Santai swung his huge tail, and the entire magic circle shattered. The magic circle turned into a burst of golden light and disappeared into the secret sky. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 503. The aura of Master Huang San can only be described as terrifying. Moreover, the demon power in him is still growing, and he has no intention of stopping. This is the first time that I, Huang Tianba, have been forced to such an extent by 2 juniors. You too must die today. The huge figure of Mr. Huang San disappeared instantly. I only saw a yellow shadow passing in front of my eyes, and then there was the sound of strong wind whistling beside me. My expression condensed, and I used the ability of Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain to disappear instantly. When he reappeared, he was 5 or 6 meters away from Mr. Huang San. Boom! I saw that the place where I was standing was blasted into a big hole by Mr. Huang San. When Mr. Huang saw me escaping, he turned his attention to Mr. Ma. He opened his bloody mouth and bit Mr. Ma. I looked shocked. If I were bitten, half of my body would be bitten off. I just wanted to use the ability of Nine Eyes' heavenly domain to come to Mr. Ma. But then I saw a scene that surprised me. Mr. Ma raised his hands and tightly grasped the two sharp fangs in Mr. Huang San's bloody mouth. Then young Master Ma roared and directly lifted Mr. Huang San up. Mr. Huang took advantage of the situation and flipped in the air, using his huge head and tail to fly Mr. Ma away. Master Ma! I shouted at Mr. Ma. Just as I was about to go up and help, Lu Hangxuan's voice came through my mind. I originally thought you two could beat Huang Tianba. But now it seems that you can't. Leave him to me. I nodded and said, I'll trouble you then. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt an extremely powerful demonic force filling my limbs and bones. Immediately afterwards, I saw some white scales appearing on my skin. In addition, my whole body was emitting a cold white light, and the shadow of a white snake emerged behind me. Huang Tianba! I slowly opened my mouth and shouted. But it was not my voice, but Lu Hangxuan's. At this moment I feel that my body is no longer under my control, but my sensory awareness is still there. When Mr. Huang San heard this voice, he stopped and then turned his head to look at me. When he saw the huge snake shadow behind me, he was stunned for a moment, and then shouted in surprise, Lu Hangxuan, are you not dead? I took steps towards Mr. Huang San. You who have ascended should not interfere in the affairs of the human world, and you want to touch my disciples. What kind of explanation are you going to give me about this matter? Lu Hangxuan's tone was calm and condescending. Mr. Huang Santai raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth and said, Lu Hangxuan, you still dare to talk to me in such a tone now? If it had been before, I might have been a little jealous of you. But now that I have attained enlightenment and ascended, do you think you are still my opponent? Mr. Huang San, Mrs. Chang San. Huang Tianba and Lu Hangxuan should be of the same generation. But Lu Hangxuan wasted too much time guarding the soul of Mount Tai. Otherwise, Lu Hangxuan would have ascended long ago. Your strength is only at level 4. If you take action. Lu Hangxuan didn't say anything further, but I could understand what Lu Hangxuan meant. That means the current Mr. Huang is no match for her. After hearing these words, Mr. Huang San smiled, with that weasel face, not to mention how weird it was. It's been a long time since I met a junior like you who is so arrogant. I want to see what's so great about you, Lu Hangxuan. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 504. It seems that a big war is inevitable. Chang Xian can be said to be the most powerful being among the 5 immortal families. It's not that other immortal families are not as strong as the Chang family. The Chang family's skill is to kill demons and subjugate them, and their combat power is not that high. Lu Hangxuan and Mrs. Huang stood opposite each other, their eyes meeting in the air, and the atmosphere in the air was extremely solemn. At this moment, Mr. Huang San disappeared instantly. The speed was so fast that it was jaw-dropping, and it was in front of me in the blink of an eye. Although I am not controlling my body now, I can still feel the scalp-numbing demonic energy. A huge weasel shadow also appeared behind Mr. Huang. A thick black mist began to seep out of his body. I slowly raised my hand, and the demonic power surged towards Master Huang San like a tide. The demonic forces collided and set off a violent wind. Later, Lu Hangxuan controlled my body and fought with Mr. Huang. I swear, I never thought my skills would be as good as this. Of course, this is all because Lu Hangxuan manipulated my body. Mr. Huang's attack was fierce. I saw every move and I fought him back and forth. At this moment, the bright moon in the sky was suddenly obscured by dark clouds, and the originally bright night sky became dim. Those weasels who worshipped the moon devoutly also lost their goals. Mr. Huang's aura suddenly dropped. Seeing this scene, I was very happy. It seems that God is on our side. Lu Hangxuan's offensive became more and more fierce, and Mr. Huang was already at a disadvantage. Now he was completely unable to withstand Lu Hangxuan's attack. Mr. Huang San was a little surprised and said, "You have stayed in the world for so long, and you are still so strong." Lu Hangxuan said nothing and continued to attack Mr. Huang. Mr. Huang San suddenly thought of something, and a look of pride appeared on his face. If an immortal family like ours wants to ascend, they must go through a heavenly tribulation, and your strength has already reached that point. If that's the case, then let me help you. Mr. Huang Santai distanced himself from Lu Hangxuan. Then he transformed into a human form, kneading the secrets with both hands, and then countless rays of golden light emitted from his body. The golden light floated towards the dark sky like fireflies. Lu Hangxuan looked shocked when she saw this scene. He raised his hand, flashed his body, and hit Mr. Huang San. But just when her hand touched Mr. Wang's body suddenly dissipated, and countless golden lights floated towards the sky. Lu Hangxuan looked at these golden lights and said to me, "Oh no, he wants to make heaven notice me by showing his true body." After hearing these words, I already understood Mr. Huang San's intention. Immortals who have attained enlightenment and ascended to heaven are not allowed to interfere in human affairs. And if Master Huang San reveals his true body to the world, it will definitely lead to divine punishment or even disaster. Now Lu Hangxuan will not be noticed by Tiandao because he has not shown too much strength. This move by Mr. Huang will advance Lu Hangxuan's calamity. At this moment, there was golden light shining in the sky. Mr. Ma came to my side, looked at the sky, and frowned. "It's over now." The originally dark sky was flashing with golden light. Seeing this, the surrounding weasels all knelt on the ground and kowtowed at the golden light in the sky. The golden light in the dark clouds became brighter and brighter, the dark clouds slowly dissipated, and a figure appeared in the sky. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 505. Looking up, I saw the man standing among the clouds, standing on the clouds, with dazzling golden light emitting from his body. The man is about 30 years old, with sharp eyes, standing on the armrest, and appears to the world like a god. Huang Tianba. I never thought he would actually dare to show up in the world. Lu Hangxuan. Huang Tianba spoke slowly. His voice is as loud and distant as a bell, and like the sound of Buddha, it is everywhere and reaches the ears. Even from such a long distance, I can feel the terrifying power emanating from Huang Tianba. Your disciples killed my people, and today I will make you pay the price you deserve. Huang Tianba slowly raised his right hand, a golden light condensed in his palm, and then he gently lowered it. That golden light came through the sky, and its power was enough to destroy the heaven and the earth. My expression condensed, and I quickly took back control of my body, then took out the soul of Taishan and threw it into the sky. That small Mount Tai suddenly grew bigger in the air. The golden light collided solidly with Mount Tai floating in mid-air. There was a bang. The soul of Mount Tai offset the golden light, and then I felt a sharp pain in my chest and blood gushing from my body. Puff. A mouthful of blood spurted out from me. "Lu Su." Mr. Ma shouted to me anxiously. I stretched out my hand with difficulty and waved at him. Huang Tianba's strength is really terrifying. If it weren't for the soul of Mount Tai, I'm afraid we would all be here today. Huang Tianba looked at the soul of Mount Tai floating in the air with an expression of extreme surprise. The soul of Tarzan. You kid actually has such a treasure. Huang Tianba raised his hand, wanting to attack us again. But at this moment, a huge thunder sound suddenly came from the sky. Boom! I feel like the whole world is shaking. Thunder pythons were tumbling one after another in the dark clouds, and their posture seemed to fall down at any time. Thunder. Huang Tianba indeed attracted thunder. Seeing this scene, Master Ma and I looked solemn as never before. Huang Tianba's arrogant laughter came from the sky. "Lu Hangxuan, this is my gift to you." Say so, Huang Tianba disappeared into the sky. After Huang Tianba disappeared, more and more dark clouds gathered in the sky, and the entire night sky was like a black hole, swallowing up all the light in the world. Lu Hangxuan's voice rang in my ears. I was discovered by heaven, and my current strength is not enough to survive this disaster. Strands of cool light emerged from my body. Cold light gathered in front of me, and a moment later, Lu Hangxuan appeared in front of me. So, you go quickly. I'll carry it myself. The thunder became louder and louder, and the churning lightning seemed to be precipitating a huge disaster. Mr. Ma took a step forward and said, "There is no need to fight against the thunder. There is a peach forest not far away. As long as you get to the peach forest before the thunder falls, you can confuse the sight and the thunder will not know who to hit. Peach wood attracts thunder, I have known this for a long time. It seems like this might work." Without any hesitation, we ran towards the peach forest. On the way, Mr. Ma said, "Tai Nai Chang San has not yet reached the time of ascension, so this catastrophe is not as powerful as imagined. However, if she is baptized by this thunder, she will not be able to transform into a dragon. From now on, she will only be able to transform into a dragon able to ascend as an immortal." After hearing this, I nodded, feeling more and more convinced that I wanted to help Lu Hangxuan escape this disaster. After all, the good fortune of dragon bone is not so easy to obtain. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 506. In the night sky, dark clouds rolled and thunder bursts. Thunder clouds hovered above my head, and thunder rolled and settled in the clouds, with a vague tendency to fall. As we were running, a thunderbolt as thick as a bucket fell from the sky. The thunder struck at me at an extremely fast speed. Seeing that there was no way to avoid it, I used Nine Eyes' heavenly realm to teleport 7 or 8 meters away in an instant. And the thunderbolt also fell into vain. Immediately afterwards, the thunder clouds in the sky rolled again, and the thunder came to my head from a distance of 7 meters in a very short period of time. I ran like crazy, but Tianli was still chasing after me. Just after running a distance of 5 or 6 meters, another thunderbolt fell from the sky. This sky thunder is thicker and stronger than the previous one. The speed of Tianli is extremely fast, and I use the ability of Nine Eyes Heaven Realm to transfer again. But just as I stood firm, Tianli caught up with me again. The corner of my mouth twitched slightly. Why is it that this thunder is as difficult to deal with as dogskin plaster? Lu Hangxuan's voice rang in my ears. "Lu Su, run. This thunder will not stop until it hits its target." As soon as Lu Hangxuan finished speaking, another thunder fell from the sky. I had no choice but to use the ability of the Nine Eyes Heaven Realm to escape. The sky thunder fell 5 or 6 times in a row, and these 5 or 6 times I used the ability of the Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain to escape. But gradually, my right eye started to hurt. Oops. My right eye is overused. What to do now? At this moment, the sky thunder fell again, and this time I couldn't use the Nine Eyes Heaven Realm. I could only raise my head and look at Tianli. I suddenly reached out my hand and picked up the 9 layers of Thunder Dew. Thunder and lightning appeared in the palm of my hand, and the power of the 4-level thunder technique was clearly revealed. Without any hesitation, I guided the thunder technique in my hand into the sky. 2 lightning bolts collided together, setting off a dazzling light. However, the power of the 4th-level thunder art was ultimately not as powerful as the sky thunder, and was eventually offset by the sky thunder. Seeing that the 4 levels of thunder were cancelled out, I quickly threw myself to the side. Thunder and lightning exploded around me, and the powerful force blew me away. I felt burning pain all over my body. I struggled to get up and ran away. "Lu Su, how about I come out and bear this thunder myself? Lu Hangxuan's guilt-filled voice rang in my ears. I replied without thinking, no. If you bear the thunder this time, you will never be able to transform into a dragon. Lu Hangxuan helped me a lot, and I can't just watch her lose this opportunity. There is a world of difference between a dragon and a snake. If she can ascend as a dragon, then Lu Hangxuan's immortal status will naturally be higher than that of other immortal families. But nothing but. At this moment, I suddenly saw a large peach forest in front of me. Because it is autumn now, and the climate in the northern region is cold, the entire peach forest looks dry and lifeless. When I saw the peach forest, I saw the hope of life. I couldn't tolerate my joy for too long, and the thunder fell again, this time faster than before. Seeing that I couldn't dodge, I took a deep breath and opened the Nine Eyes Heaven realm again. My eyes were fixed on the peach forest not far away. Just a second before the thunder was about to fall, I successfully left the place. When he appeared again, he was already in the peach forest. The dark clouds in the sky also followed. Thunder and lightning rolled, but did not fall. The bursts of thunder from the sky told me that thunder was condensing. He probably lost his target and planned to strike with a thunder that could destroy Dylan. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 507. The sky thunder hovered in the sky and refused to fall for a long time. At this moment, Mr. Ma, who had been left behind by me, caught up with me. He glanced at the thunder hovering in the sky, and then shouted at us, "Quick! Find a place to hide." Hiding. I looked around, there were peach trees everywhere, and there was no place to hide. Where to hide? Mr. Ma was stunned for a moment, and then shouted to me, "Just find a tree to hide in." What's the difference between saying this and not saying it? I focused my gaze on a peach tree with a crooked neck. Just when I was hesitating, there was a deafening thunder in the sky. I looked stern and ran towards the crooked neck peach tree. I hid behind a tree, and at this moment, countless thunderbolts as thick as buckets fell from the sky. The sound of thunder was so loud that it made my scalp numb. This is not the first time I have experienced thunder. But every time I face it, I feel a sense of powerlessness. Boom! A thunderbolt fell not far from me, directly turning the peach trees in that area into ashes. Seeing this scene, the corners of my eyes twitched slightly. I pray that the thunder will not hit me. But sometimes, the more you think this way, things don't develop as you think. A bolt of thunder circled above my head, and then fell towards the crooked-necked peach tree beside me with lightning speed. Seeing this situation, I didn't hesitate at all and instantly opened the Nine Eyes Heaven realm. A black barrier appeared out of thin air and enveloped me in an instant, and I narrowed the scope of the Nine Eyes Heaven realm. The Nine Eyes Heaven realm has many abilities. In addition to being able to travel through the space at will, the defensive power of these black barriers is also extremely strong. The sky thunder as thick as a bucket struck the barrier hard. Just through a barrier, I could see the frightening power of the thunder. Boom! With bursts of thunder, the black barrier was struck by lightning and cracked. I was slightly startled, and quickly picked up the seal of the Golden Light Curse, silently reciting the magic spell of the Golden Light Curse in my heart. Dazzling golden light surrounded me. I raised my hand to hold the sword and pointed at the place where the barrier was broken. The scope of the Nine Eyes Heaven realm and the hardness of the barrier are directly proportional to my own strength. And the golden light spell is tantamount to increasing my strength. As I cast the golden light spell, the cracks in the barrier were being repaired. Gradually, the thunder in my ears gradually disappeared. I looked at the sky and found that the dark clouds had dissipated and the bright moonlight came into my eyes again. Looking at the mess all around, Dylan has been devastated by thunder, and countless stumps and broken arms have fallen to the ground. There were even blazing fires burning on the stumps of some peach trees. I breathed a long sigh of relief. It seemed that I had withstood the thunder this time. If these peach trees hadn't attracted thunder from the sky, I'm afraid this time would have been really unlucky. Mr. Ma quickly ran to my side and said, "I didn't expect that your kid is still alive." Good guy, I was a little scared when I saw Lay that day. I rolled my eyes. Why doesn't Mr. Ma think about me? The two of us did not delay here any longer and rushed towards the direction of the immortal cave. Mr. Ma and I shuttled through the forest and soon came to a cliff. Mr. Ma pointed at the cliff and said, "The immortal cave is right there." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 508. I looked towards the bottomless cliff, and through the moonlight I saw what seemed to be a cave on the opposite cliff. We are 10 meters away from the cave. If you want to get through, you can only use the Nine Eyes Heaven realm. I grabbed Mr. Ma's hand, just as the extreme distance of the Nine Eyes Heaven realm could cover the cave. I took a deep breath and disappeared with Mr. Ma. When he appeared again, he was already at the entrance of the immortal cave. The immortal cave was pitch black, with no light visible at all. Mr. Ma and I looked at each other, then stepped into it. The temperature in the immortal cave is obviously much lower than outside. From time to time there will be a dark wind blowing. The cave was very quiet, and the only sounds I could hear were the footsteps of Mr. Ma and me. I asked, "Mr. Ma, have you been to this immortal cave before?" Mr. Ma shook his head and replied, "No, but I heard that this fairy cave is very evil. Every year, people come here and jump off the cliff. In the end, they can't even find their bodies. Come here to jump off a cliff?" It seems that although this immortal cave has the word immortal, it is not as simple as imagined. As Mr. Ma and I went deeper, the cave walls on both sides gradually widened. Moreover, the sound of water dripping could be heard from time to time. At this moment, a drop of water fell on my shoulder. I didn't pay too much attention to it. After all, it's not unusual for water stains to appear on the roof of a cave. Tick-tock tick. The sound of water drops falling on the ground became more and more intensive in his ears, as if it was a continuous drizzle. And my body was also wet. I suddenly felt something was wrong, stopped, and then smelled the smell around me. Why does this cave smell like blood? The smell of blood is not strong, but I can still smell it. I looked at Mr. Ma and asked, "Mr. Ma, do you smell the smell of blood?" Mr. Ma relaxed his nose and said, "No." Suddenly, a drop of water fell on the tip of my nose. The smell of blood became stronger and stronger. I stretched out my hand to wipe the water droplets from my nose, then put my hand in front of my nose and smelled it carefully. My pupils trembled violently, and I knew where the smell of blood was coming from. It's these water droplets. I was just about to tell Master Ma about this, and then I heard the sound of Master Ma slapping his head. Look at my memory. I have a lighter in my pocket. Then, I heard Mr. Ma fumble in his pocket. Then there was a click, and a small, weak flame caught my eye. The flames were not big and the firelight was not dazzling, but it was particularly eye-catching in this environment. It's much better now. By the light of the weak fire, I looked at Mr. Ma. It didn't matter what I saw, it instantly made me break out in a cold sweat. I saw Mr. Ma's original brown coat covered with scarlet blood. I pointed at Master Ma and said, "Master Ma, you are covered in blood." Mr. Ma raised his arm and took a look, and instantly said, "Oh my God. When did you get this stain?" Mr. Ma happened to catch a glimpse of me from the corner of his eye. He was stunned for a moment, and then said with some surprise, "It's all on you too." The two of us instantly felt something was wrong, and we both raised our heads and looked at the roof of the cave. Mr. Ma also raised the lighter in his hand. The weak firelight shone on the top of the cave, and we saw human faces staring at us one after another. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 509. The faces of these people are sunken deep into the cave wall, and they are as densely packed as ants, which makes people feel chilly when they look at them. In addition, these faces include men, women, and children, and the expressions on their faces are also different. Fear, excitement, madness, laughter. Although their expressions are different, they have the same characteristic, that is, a pair of eyes are staring at Mr. Ma and me. And the blood dripping from the roof of the cave flowed out from their 7 orifices. I couldn't help but wonder why they were staring at Mr. Ma and me so much. Neither of us noticed. At this moment, all the human faces and big mouths embedded in the cave walls let out ear-piercing screams one after another. The scream was so loud that it pierced my eardrums. I quickly reached out and held my ears. Mr. Ma opened his mouth at me, although I couldn't hear Mr. Ma's voice because of the scream. But I can still understand what he wants to express through his lip reading. He was telling me, run. Before I could react, I saw Mr. Ma running wildly, running 3 or 4 meters away in an instant. I secretly cursed Mr. Ma for being unloyal, and I quickly stepped forward to catch up with Mr. Ma. But I didn't run very far when I felt like something grabbed my ankle. I looked down and saw one pale ghost hand after another springing up from the ground like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. These ghost hands moved their knuckles stiffly, and then clawed at my ankle again. I quickly picked up the thunder weapon and blasted it toward the ground. Thunder and lightning exploded, and the ghost hands were instantly blown to pieces by me, but after a while, these ghost hands popped up from the ground again. I suddenly felt someone kicked me hard in the back. I staggered a few steps forward, and at this moment I saw thighs one after another emerging from the cave wall in front of me. These thighs were so bony and pale that they looked like tree branches. I picked up Leiju again and blasted it towards the wall in front of me. The moment those thighs touched the lightning, they vanished into thin air and turned into ashes. At this time, I also knew what it was that kicked me from behind. I looked around and saw a scene that I will never forget. There are countless thighs on the cave walls on both sides, and there are ghost faces one after another above our heads, but under our feet are ghost hands that are as dense as bamboo shoots. Where is the immortal cave? It's clearly a death cave. These ghost hands, thighs, and ghost faces are all limbs from different people, which means that there are dismembered ghosts one after another in the entire cave wall of the immortal cave. And these evil ghosts integrated with the immortal cave and became part of the immortal cave. Mr. Ma is also suffering from the same troubles as me at the moment. On top of that, the screaming in my ears got closer and I looked up. The distance between those grimaces and me has been reduced a lot. The corners of their mouths have also risen to an incredible angle. Big bloody mouths are biting towards us. Now, I definitely can't run away, I can only think of ways to deal with the current emergency. I took a deep breath and used the power of my left eye. The inky darkness condensed into a black ocean in an instant, and countless pairs of pale ghost hands struggled in the ocean, just like drowning people making their last struggle. I activated the soul-stealing blood hand, and the scarlet blood floated towards the black ocean, and it was dyed blood red in an instant. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanbao. Chapter 510. The blood-colored sea of ghosts rushed around like a tide, swallowing up ghost faces, ghost hands, and thighs in an instant. And the sea of ghosts just avoided Mr. Ma and me. A heartbreaking roar came from the sea of ghosts. After the roar, there was the howling of ghosts and wolves. This sound makes people feel heartbroken. I looked at the sea of ghosts and found that the entire sea of ghosts was growing continuously. It seemed that, the sea of ghosts would grow a little stronger every time it swallowed a ghost or a yin energy. Is this a characteristic of the ghost sea? The devouring process lasted for a full minute, until the sound of ghosts crying and wolf howling disappeared, and the sea of ghosts stopped churning. Just when I was about to put away the sea of ghosts, I discovered something incredible. That is the entire sea of ghosts that has changed. At this time, the ghost sea has fallen into calm and stopped churning, and those ghost hands are also hidden in the ghost sea. However, I suddenly saw a head popping up in the sea of ghosts. That head was wearing blood-red armor, followed by a second head, a third head. A moment later, 49 human heads wearing bloody armor emerged from the sea of ghosts. Immediately afterwards, the head slowly rose, and the body under the head was exposed to the air, followed by the hands, and finally the legs. Just like that, 49 ancient generals wearing blood-colored armor came into my sight. This is how the same thing? These 49 ancient generals couldn't help but wear armor and hold long swords in their hands. They were dressed exactly the same. It's like it was carved from one bone. Seeing this scene, an immature idea emerged in my mind. I always thought that the left eye's ability was to condense darkness, control shadows, and finally form a sea of ghosts. But later I discovered that there were ghost hands hidden in the ghost sea, and now these ghost hands turned into ancient generals one after another. In other words, these guys are already hidden in the sea of ghosts. It's just that they didn't swallow enough yin qi to reveal their true form. After they devoured the ghosts on the walls of the immortal cave, they transformed from one hand to what they are now. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but get a little excited. It seems that this visit to the immortal cave was not in vain, and it actually caused such a change in the sea of ghosts. I put away the ghost sea, and saw those ancient generals slowly sinking into the ghost sea, and finally merged into the darkness. Young Master Ma came to me, patted my shoulder and said, "Good boy, you have indeed hidden a lot of tricks behind my back. I regret giving you the evil suppressing seal." I smiled at Mr. Ma and said, "Don't take back the things you gave to others, otherwise it will damage your reputation." Mr. Ma rolled his eyes and ignored me. After solving the current crisis in this way, Mr. Ma and I continued to go deeper. As I walked, Lu Hangxuan's voice came to my ears. "I have already felt the aura of my people. Their current situation is very bad, and they may die at any time." Hearing this sentence, I quickly quickened my pace. Before long, a suspension bridge appeared in front of me. The suspension bridge has been in disrepair for a long time, and the wooden boards on it are in pieces, which makes people doubt whether the suspension bridge can bear the weight of Mr. Ma and me. Under the suspension bridge is a bottomless abyss. There is a faint white mist lingering in the entire abyss, which looks very ethereal. Mr. Ma and I stepped onto the suspension bridge one after another without any hesitation and walked towards the other side. But just when we were about to cross the suspension bridge, there was a subtle sound in the abyss.